Um, I'm Kathy, usually known as Kathy Rayna, and VTubers and VRChat thing. Um, and this video is probably gonna be no, not probably. It is the first video for my YouTube channel. Um, and I have no specific plans here. I guess I just wanted to talk about who I am. Um, what VTubing or virtual streaming means to me, and what VRChat itself means to me. Um, so this video is going to be about that, and maybe a few more things that I'll throw in to put more into perspective. I guess me, I call it something. This video is not going to have much editing, if at all. For the most part, this is going to be a one-shot thing of me talking for God knows how long with no script. um, I wanted everyone, I guess, to see a more raw me, a more direct version. Um, no editing, no planning. Besides, just a few things. And basically, like I said before, I'm Kathy. You can just call me Kathy at this point. It's okay. Everyone does. So go for it. Um, and I guess I started content creation for the first time initially was several years ago before I was actually a VTuber. Um, and it all started with just the simple thing of let's have some fun, right? I think that's the main fundamental thing of content creation is let's have fun. Let's connect with your audience, your viewers, depending if you're streaming or making videos, right? But I actually started initially as a human streamer. Um, not a human streamer, actually. I was just a human YouTuber. That's it. No virtual avatar yet. I was just, showing things, and there I was, and having some fun with things, just either talking about things. At the time, it was actually a lot of Destiny 2. I did talk about a lot of Destiny 2. Some fighting games in the mix, and so on. And uh, it just it was fun, but I could tell there were some how can I say anxieties in the mix from from being the human part, right? There's an extra pressure when you're a human because you're actually there, right? And I think that was kind of holding me back in a certain way, right? I don't think I was expressing myself correctly and properly because of factors of anxiety, being actually out there. And I figured, I'm going to take a break. I actually did that for a few years. I went from YouTube to Twitch and so on. And then I took a break. I took a break for a year. I was like, okay, I want to do this, but how can I do it? And but feel comfortable, right? It's important. It was important because if I couldn't feel comfortable in some way, then that means people would notice, right? People wouldn't have fun if I was not having fun. I think it kind of makes sense, right? If I'm not at ease, then audience will notice. People will not be at ease either, right? So viewers, your community will notice something's amiss. Um, so I actually took a break. Took a break for a year. um, and then I found out about virtual streamers. um, or more like at the time, not knowing the correct term of VTuber or something, I was like, interesting. There's people like streaming with avatars. And I was like, mm, mm. Maybe, maybe. How do they do this, right? How do they do this? And I start checking, and it was interesting because the first thing I saw was actually VR chat. I was already doing VR for a while before that, and did some VR chat, but I never considered using VR chat for streaming. It never actually hit me at first, but then it did. I was like, I can just, make an avatar, um, or use an avatar and stream. Just me interacting with everyone in the community and viewers, audience, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's actually how it started. That's why my name and my accounts is Kathy LVRC, because I made it all before I even knew I was gonna do a more broad VTuber term initially. So I started creating all the accounts with VRC in the name. Uh, it kind of just stuck because in the end, that's the main content I do anyway. Because it's a different way of expressing myself and better interact with things. Um, but um, that's how it all started. Me looking at VRChat as a way of doing it. Um, and then that's when I actually found out better about VTubers and they're playing games and stuff. And I was like, maybe I could do this. I could do both things. Do the VRChat part and do this more, I guess, human way of streaming, content creation, uh, playing a game or something and talking with people. I think the talking with people was always a very important thing for me. I always wanted to be interactive, talking to people. Um, I think it's important, right? Because if you're going to be a content creator, maybe um, for VR chat, if you're just playing a game or something, anything of the sorts. I think the most important thing is keeping in mind if it's not your community, you're nothing, right? So I always strive towards being interactive and chatting with people. Otherwise, you know, if I'm not communicating with the audience that I'm with the community that is with me, how's that gonna work? It's not gonna work. So, um, that was always my main thing, and um, I had some inspirations. I had some inspirations. I had some inspirations. One is a funny one, I guess, which is Project Melody at like what 4 years ago or so. Uh, I liked how she was interactive and used full body tracking and all that. I was like, yeah, I I, I want to do that too. I want to do that too, so I can use all the body language and so on. I think that's which I thought it was an important way of like connecting to people. You know, people seeing my body language and facial expressions, and I looked into all kinds of what can I use for face tracking? Can I even do face tracking? um, and at the time, it was primarily if you have a 3D model, you can do it. Yes, I started checking options for 3D models, how to do face tracking, how to do tracking at all to begin um, with my hands and so on. Um, yeah, that's kind of how it went, right? And I kind of just went from there, and I went and see, okay, how can I do this? Can I use the same model I use for desktop streaming as VTuber part? Can I also use it for VR chats? And I start checking how can I convert things and so on. And yeah, there's ways. There's ways. There were ways. It's way easier now, actually. Mm. Okay, so easier quotations. It's kinda easier. Um, I guess it's more accessible. Not necessarily easier, right? But I digress. Um, so yeah, I kind of started working on the avatar, and my thing was always base it on myself. Um, that's one thing I always wanted was like, as knowledge creating the models allowed anyway. 'Cause, things got better. I got better working on it and stuff. Um, but at the start, like, I tried to always go for something that was as close as possible to me in a way that felt comfortable for me, right? And things that I would wear, it's stuff that the avatar would have. That was one of my things was be as normal as possible. Be as me as possible. Um, not do anything extravagant, not too weird. It's just me, a silly tomboy, I'm a tomboy and silly tomboy, and it kind of just went from there. So started working on the model, VRM initially, VRM initially. Um, and since I also wanted to do VRChat, I was primarily testing the model in VRChat, and it was interesting. I guess this is the part of what VRChat means, um, to me as we go, and I think it was that thing of when I created the first version that I considered was, at least for the current knowledge at the time, good enough that I felt it was representing me well enough. So I converted to VR chat, right? Flip into VR, I hop in, I go into a mirror to test it, and it was that first shock, awe of seeing myself represented, sure, in a stylized way, right? I guess in a anime idealized way, but still, it was me, right? And that was a very interesting thing. It was this interesting connection that I felt instantly of seeing myself, and it was moving, and I had a form of full body tracking already, which was using the Connect at the time. Uh, and I could already feel that connection. And it felt great. And like wow, I'm moving my legs, I'm moving my hands, and moving my arms and seeing myself react. And I felt a certain emotional thing right there. I actually cried for a bit, from that emotional response initially, because something I created to represent me based on me, um, a stylized me, but still, Um, and it was interesting. It was a nice connection, and that's when I knew, okay, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm gonna do. This is how I'm gonna do it. This is it. That works. That is the thing. And off I went. Off I went, and I did a few test streams and stuff. Then my first stream was, curiously enough, not using VRChat. My first official, to call it something. I was actually playing a game. But the second wasn't even VR chat. My second stream was a VR chat. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. And I guess in the end, I could feel I could express myself way better with the community and as myself, even, right? Um, and so the journey began of content creation as virtual streamer, VTuber, virtual content creator, whatever you want to call it. Um, and I always wanted to like be there for the community as best as possible and talk with everyone. Um, if there's one thing that upsets me is when I miss a message. I actually get upset when I miss a message. When I notice it, it's like, oh no, I missed someone. No. And so I try to reply as quickly as I can. Um, if I notice it, because sometimes I do miss stuff again. But I always try to reply to everyone as best as I can. Um, within the possibilities. Sometimes I guess it's less possible than others, but I do my best or try my best. Um, and it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. Um, and so I started in on Twitch directly as me in this virtual self of me, and I think it was quite interesting. It still is, and it will continue to be because I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Um, and eventually I started broadening my horizons for multiple types of medias and stuff. Uh, because I did do lots of things before I was um a virtual content creator or VTuber, for example. Um, I did do 3D CG stuff before. Um, some naughty, some not. Um, quite a few things. Lots of a virtual representation of me already. So I guess technically I've been a VTuber even before I noticed I was going to be a VTuber. But for some reason, I always used the human form. Let's call it something. Uh, to do the content on the internet until I realized I could just use it. The virtual me for that. I think that's better for some reason. Um. So yeah, I guess kind of just went from there, and I think it was interesting. Um, liberating is a good way of putting it. It was liberating, uh, to do it like this. You know, liberating to do it like this. Um, um, but yeah, and I want things to thrive and be healthy, and I want to continue being there for my community as best as possible. Uh, yeah. So I think that's gonna be it for this first video. It's just a little intro video with me talking with all of you. Um, what type of content can you expect out of this channel? Uh, here's an interesting thing. So probably a little bit of everything. Just me talking about things. Maybe some topics I'm passionate about. I'll talk about it. Um, maybe about VR in general or VRChat itself. Maybe ways of um expressing certain stuff, like for when you're doing content creation. Um, maybe about games here and there. Um, but one thing will be for certain, I'll just be me. I'll just be me. I'll just be me, my opinions, you, my community, and let's have fun with the ride. Hi, thank y'all for being here, and I love y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm sorry if it was very chaotic because I had no specific plan for this. I just wanted to go for it. Thanks, everyone. Mwah. Love y'all. Where's that button? There it is.